Can I ask you about Tanaka? There was quite an interesting interview with him after the post-match after West Ham, and he was sort of saying, he was admitting about the level of the Premier League, and he was saying, I'm not good enough to be at that level yet, etc., etc. I think people found it quite refreshing and honest that a player would say that, but he was also saying, and relishing the challenge of trying to get to that. What do you think to comments like that when someone like that, Tanaka, says something like that, and what have you thought to the way he's handled it so far, really? Because I think most people think he's done a pretty good job.
I like if someone is really, really humble and also self-critical and puts also his demands and the crossbar for his demands really high. I quite like it because normally in this business, it's more like the other way around. Every player tries to protect himself, and it's more like when, whatever performance is not on top level, then someone else is blamed quite often, and also the head coach or the manager. I quite like it, but he doesn't have to say this, not at all, because there's also no reason to be too self-critical, because our was fantastic for us last season. Of course, it was championship, and of course, it's the first time in his career that he plays right now in a top division, in a top league, and he has a point to prove there. But I have to say, preseason, he had a fantastic preseason, also against really strong opponents. He had a really good start also into the season with us, also in the starting lineup, when I think about the Everton game, for example, was also involved in a really good game. Yes, and then sadly he had this injury. I think it happened away at Arsenal, and no one is to blame for him, and especially not him with this MCL injury. And it's always the same if you're then out for a few weeks, and it's not like you are there after a few weeks, missing many minutes, the first game back in the starting lineup, and then it's more or less like a new league for him. You play the opponent out of the park. I think it was for being not in his best rhythm and not in his full rhythm and missing 6 or 7 games. Anyhow, it was definitely a solid performance in the starting lineup, and I didn't expect him to be man of the match. Being back in his first match back after injury, back in the starting lineup, but I think he was quite solid and showed a really, really good performance, and also played his part that we were able to dominate this game also in many periods, and also to win this game then in the end. So that he got also a bit more tired then after 60, 70 minutes, and we had to substitute him then. That is also quite normal when you're not in your full rhythm. So I'm quite happy that I have him back. I also like that he expects more from himself, but he doesn't have to be too self-critical with him. No one is to blame for this injury, and also with this game, but also with the Everton game, he has proved that he can play on this level. And I'm pretty sure if he becomes more and more or comes more into his rhythm and plays with more confidence, there's even more to come. It's good that he wants to step up. He also needs to step up in a few areas a little bit. There's no doubt about this, but there's no reason to doubt yourself too much, and also for him not to be over self-critical.